So the city of San Jose has just passed a unanimous mandatory taxation on gun owners within the city and also a mandatory liability insurance requirement for all gun owners in the city. So let's talk about this. But real quick, before we jump into this video, if you think you cannot tax a fundamental right, go ahead and hit that like button and subscribe. I also want to thank a main sponsor of the channel, and that is USCCA. Through your membership, you get training, education, and self-defense liability protection. So if you're in the market for something like that, if you carry a firearm, I highly recommend you take a look at USCCA, and I'll put a link to them down in the details section. So the city of San Jose is at it again. We talked about prior on another video on this channel that the city recently passed a videotaping requirement that all gun transactions that happen at a gun store must be videotaped. Well, now they're at it again by trying to pass an ordinance and actually unanimously voted in the city council to actually write up an ordinance that mandates taxation for all gun owners in the city and also mandates that those gun owners also have liability insurance. So what does this all involve? Well, I'll put a link to the memorandum down in the details section if you want to read it for yourself, but I'll give you the main highlights of what they're going to try to do in passing this ordinance. So the city council in the memorandum stated that they are directing the city attorney to return to council in September with an ordinance for council approval that would require every gun owner residing in the city of San Jose, with exceptions delineated below, to obtain and maintain a city-issued document evidencing 1. Payment of an annual fee, and 2. Attestation of insurance coverage for unintentional firearm-related death, injury, or property damage. So those are those two main things that they're going to try to do. So let's dig deeper into the liability protection that they are proposing in this draft ordinance that they want the city attorney to come up with. They state here in the memorandum that the gun owner shall sign and complete the insurance attestation describing her specific policy number and issuer, and sign it under penalty of perjury. They go on to state that acceptable coverage may include any homeowners or renters policy providing a minimum coverage amount. So I don't know actually how this is going to work, because no liability insurance, like typical liability insurance that has homeowners or even renters like insurance, has firearms protection and liability protection like this. So I don't know if they're just going to recognize these insurance as a qualifier for this requirement that they're going to try to put in place in this ordinance. So we'll see how that plays out when the ordinance is actually written by the city attorney. They then go on to state that the document or signed waiver shall be kept wherever guns are stored or transported with the owner, in home gun safe, in a car, etc. So pretty much anywhere you go, anywhere you have these firearms in the city of San Jose, you're going to have this approval that the city is going to give you, saying that you have the approved liability insurance that they are mandating. And then in the memorandum, of course, they go on to say that they are going to exempt law enforcement officers from this actual mandate. They also state potentially that they're going to exempt, and they're going to look into an exemption from these requirements will exist for holders of a concealed carry weapon CCW permits if the city attorney deems it necessary to do so to avoid conflicts with state preemption over CCW regulation. So they are saying that, hey, we're going to have this city attorney look at this issue and see if we can even mandate this for CCW holders, because the state of California has very express language on the books in statutory language that says, hey, if you have a CCW, these are the requirements you have to the firearm, to carry the firearm. And so they're saying if we actually have this ordinance on the book, it might conflict with state law and therefore be preempted by state law because it goes further than what the state actually mandates. And so that's a nuance that might pop up when the city attorney actually drafts this ordinance. It may not actually apply to CCW holders if they actually want to avoid preemption challenges. They then go on to state in the memorandum that they want the city attorney to do more research on how to implement so-called gun violence protection orders, but actually they're just simply red flag laws. So they want the city attorney to look at better ways that they can actually hit people with their red flag laws. Now, with this liability insurance and this mandate of it, what are the potential penalties? Well, they outline that here in this memorandum. They state, failure to comply shall constitute a civil violation, subjecting the owner to a temporary or permanent seizure of the gun, and under specified circumstances, a fine. Subsequent failure to yield firearms upon the lawful demand of a law enforcement official under this ordinance would constitute a misdemeanor. So they're saying, hey, we could either fine you, we could permanently or temporarily seize your firearms, and then if you just say, no, you're not going to give your firearms up to us, we can hit you with a misdemeanor. Now let's look at what they're going to try to do with this mandated fee, actually what is a mandated tax. They state in the memorandum, pursuant to state law, fee revenue may only be utilized to fund city services provided specifically to respond to gun harm, including police officer response, fire/emergency medical response, and any city assistance to victims and their families. They then go on to state that they want the city attorney to look into the research and data surrounding fees, and then come up with a number in which the city can charge every gun owner in the city limits. So instead of actually charging the criminals, maybe when they're arrested for all the harm that they've caused and all the costs that they've caused, they're going to just pass that buck onto law-abiding individuals and gun owners in the city. And so essentially what they're going to do is they are going to tax you for exercising your fundamental right to keep and bear arms in the city of San Jose. Now, there are a couple other sneaky things that happened and are mentioned in this memorandum as well. There is a discussion of assault weapons, and then there's also a discussion of so-called ghost guns. So when it comes to ghost guns, what the memorandum states is that they direct the city attorney to craft a prohibition on the possession, assembly, and manufacturing of any untraceable gun lacking a serial number, in collaboration with partner organizations such as Brady United and Gifford Law Center, to cover gaps in California state prohibitions, most of which do not take effect until July 2022. So if you're not familiar with what's going on in California, California is going to have those firearms precursor parts laws that are taking effect, which pretty much means that you can only purchase an 80% lower from a licensed precursor part vendor. And that is going to take effect in 2022, which was actually expedited. Initially, when that bill was passed, it was supposed to be 2024, but last year when SB 118 was passed, they pushed that forward 2 years. So that's taking effect in 2022. But here, the city of San Jose is saying, we can't wait. We want the city attorney to come up with an ordinance that allows us to actually prohibit these items sooner. And then when it comes to so-called assault weapons, they state that they want the city attorney to either join with other cities or to write themselves an amicus brief in the Miller v. Bonta case, which deals with the ban on so-called assault weapons in the state of California, which was recently overturned by Judge Benitez in the Southern District of California, but then was appealed to the Ninth Circuit and is now on stay until the final determination in Duncan. And so the city here is saying that they want to file an amicus brief and get other cities to join, or to join other cities in opposing what Judge Benitez ruled. So where does this go from here? Like I said, this was a unanimous vote, and it was a unanimous vote by the city council to now pass it on to the city attorney, and the city attorney will draft the ordinance and then submit it, what it seems like and what it states here, in September, and then there will be a vote and a final vote on that ordinance in September. So if you're in San Jose, if you're in the surrounding areas, I highly recommend you reach out to the city council members, to the mayor, who's probably not going to listen to you, to the local PD chief. Reach out to everybody you know in the area that supports your firearms rights, that supports your 2A rights. Let them know that this is going on, that fundamental 2A infringements are going on, and then get out. When this actually hits in September, when the ordinance is written and submitted for a vote, make sure you're there at that city council meeting and let your voices be heard. Also, even if you're not in the area around San Jose, if you're in the LA area, if you're in the coastal area, spread the word about this. Let's make a lot of noise about this, because we all need to be concerned about this in the state of California, because if one city gets away with it, what makes you think that some of these other areas will not pass this type of stuff as well? So if you guys have any questions, go ahead and comment down below and I'll try to answer the best of my ability. Also, if you like this video and like to support the channel, one of the best ways to do that is to like, comment, and subscribe. All those things help to fuel the algorithm. It helps to push this video out more. It signals to YouTube that people see value in this video and that they should push it to more individuals. So even if you just comment down below, hey, I'm just commenting to fuel the algorithm, that really helps and helps to push this video out more. So as always, thank you all for watching. Don't forget to like and subscribe. And never forget, this nation was built by armed scholars, and this nation will be maintained by armed scholars.